Ryan Garcia won, but did he look good? What would you rate him? We got all that and more on Tough Talk tonight.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, I'm going to have Sakura, Rob, and James. How's it going, guys?
Good.
What it do?
Good to have everybody back on all at once here. Full show. Been a while. James, good to have you.
Good to be back.
Let's jump right into it. I gotta like the Serrano's response, vacating the WBC's belt. Forget the WBC for not standing up for equality. Why would you not want him to fight 3 minutes, 12 rounds? Guys, speak on it.
I agree with her. You know, she said when she last fought that she wanted the 12 rounds, 3 minutes to be a standard and not just a one-time factor. So she has to stand on that, and she did by vacating the WBC belt because they refused to grant that to him. So I give her a lot of credit for going against the grain there, especially the WBC. That's one of the most reputable places out there. So for her to go against them and say, nah, you need to factor this in with every bout. If you're not going to, then I don't want your title. That's basically what she said, and I give her credit for standing on that.
I mean, you got to get with the times the other belts are doing it. I don't understand a reason not to at this current point in time. Is anybody backing the WBC? James?
Sakura? I'm not backing them in a sense, but I do see a sense of urgency with 2-minute rounds. And that's why some of Katie Taylor's fights have been so exciting. I mean, you got to move. You got to, keep that tempo up because you're only fighting 2 rounds. So to the spectator, to the fan, to the people who are buying the tickets, it's a good thing because they're stepping on the gas. With 3 minutes, it's, a little bit slower. They're going to take their time and move around about the ring a little bit more, and it's not going to be as it doesn't have that frantic pace. And that's what we like in boxing. Let's face it, we want action. So on that front, yes. Could they and should they? I certainly think it works. I don't know about 12 rounds. I'm okay with 10, but 3 minutes, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Okay, that's a different take on it. What's your comeback to James there, Sakura?
Right, but I mean, the men you don't have a problem with men having 3 minutes, and it's not always action packed in each round. I think it's action packed when you have 2 opponents that just have similar styles and they clash. That's what makes a fight, giving you that action that you're speaking on. And that goes for the men too. It's more to do with the styles than it is to do with whether it's 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, there's more urgency on women at 2 minutes, but right. It also works against you too in the fact that you can have somebody really seriously hurt, but you don't have that extra third, that third extra minute to actually get them out of there. So it kind of has like a double-edged sword. I just think that the ladies really, like, if they want to still continue to do 2 minutes, that's on them. But if they want to do 3 minutes, then I feel like they should have that right as well and not lose their belt for it, as long as they have a willing participant in an opponent, that wants to vie for that title. She alluded to that she didn't want to make history just to go backwards and have to go back to 2-minute rounds. And I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. If you're going to break a record and you're trying to affect change, you can't then be like, okay, well, let me just go back and do 2 minutes because the WBC is mandating and that I stay at 2 minutes. It's just not like, what's the word I want to use? It's not promoting and gearing her fights towards what her true goal is, which is to give women an opportunity to have the 3 minutes, the same as men.
You're talking about Serrano?
Yeah, Serrano
But
specifically.
here's a question though, because you said she lost her belt or she was stripped, or did she give
I
it
mean,
up?
she vacated it because they would
She
not.
did, right?
Yeah, she vacated the belt because she
Yeah,
didn't want to
yeah.
go backwards and start
Well,
doing 2 minute rounds again
well,
after she just had a historic fight test that's supposed to move the female, the females forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, and change the culture of allowing that difference between men and women in the ring. I mean,
well,
they spar
in the
with
end,
3 minutes. They spar with 3 minutes. They spar with mostly men because there's no women in their specific gyms. So it just doesn't make sense to me why you would still continue to, not you specifically, I'm saying why the WBC would continue to try to force her to be in 2 minutes if that's, if that's not what she as an individual wants to do. And it's really not an equality for women to be locked into 2 minutes when men have that option.
yeah. What Serrano would have lost the belt anyway, right? I mean, she would have been stripped if she does a 3 minute.
Well, if she didn't defend that title, yes. If she
Yeah,
didn't
she would.
defend the title at 2 minutes.
Yeah, but it could be a contractual thing as well. I mean, if both fighters agree to it, then great. If they don't, they don't.
That's all she's advocating for as well. I think people need to.
So choice.
Yeah, she's advocating for it to be the woman's choice instead of it being a male-dominated sport dictating what women can do. That's what her advocacy has been.
Yeah, sorry about that. In terms of like fighting 3 minutes, we got these what do you call it? Like these safety features involved. So like the referee can step in and stop things. He can, if one of the fighters is in trouble, or standing aids or whatever it is. So yeah, there's some safety features in there that we can revert to where it's not exactly more danger for them, So it could work if the referee's doing his job.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree with both of you. I definitely can see that the 2 minute round would cause it to be more action packed, like you said, James. But I think we also don't allow as much work to happen. So it's like you said, it's kind of a double edged sword.
No, there's a doctor there that can, they obviously keep an eye on things as well.
Right. And I think when we move down from the 15 rounds, I think the further you go down and the more safety you add, the further you get away from a decision that's actually going to be a realistic ending to a fight. I like to see the longevity. I like to see the 12 rounds. I understand a lot of people may not agree, and it just depends. Jay Dean here, let's see, he says, so you're going to tell me a woman is going to survive 3 rounds with a man like Mike Tyson? I don't think anybody said that, Jay. I don't know.
No, nobody said that.
I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
That they want to be treated equally as the men are with their 3 minute rounds, if that's what they choose to do. But I know for a fact that these women in their sparring daily, while they're training, they're doing 3 minute rounds, and they're doing it with sparring partners that are men mostly. Because it's not a lot of females all in one area to be able to just have exclusive, female sparring is what I was saying in that respect.
Jay continues, it's absolutely 100% more dangerous for a woman. They have thinner bones, more water weight, bruise, easier, much less muscle. No matter how much they lift and what they look like, the muscle density isn't the same. You're not a physician, so quit talking about things you know nothing about. Nobody really mentioned anything about it that deeply. Jay, you already went into it more deep than what we even offered it to. We're not talking about fighting being more dangerous to men. Yeah, no,
right.
I don't.
But as somebody,
it just came off hostile. right away.
No,
Nothing-
I like.
nothing
I,
against
I, I
it.
respect. I respect his opinion. I just want
Oh,
to
for
put.
sure, but
But
I
that's
just
all
want
it
to.
is. It's an opinion. It's not based in fact because when women wanted to be professional, a female in New York is the one that went to basically she had to prove that no, there's not a difference. If two women are fighting each other, then it's not any less safe than it is for two men to be fighting each other. It's not, it's like he's saying it like women got less density than men. That's true, but when men and women are fighting each other, you're fighting another woman. So when that happened, that's how females were able in the state of New York to be the first to be able to turn professional because it was proven that it's not a difference as far as females fight. It's no more dangerous than it is for men to fight each other. That's a misclaimer that a lot of people, have over time thought, but it's really not the actual factual evidence that was supported in that. And
Well,
I
there's
do
also
my research, Jay, so I don't know who the hell you was talking to, but I have a lot of research that I do with fighter safety. I've also been great friends with Lisa McClellan, and I like go through her stem cell research as well as some of the things that she has going on with the Ring of Brotherhood as far as fighter safety. So I think somebody else need to get their facts right, buddy.
yeah,
No,
not only that, but there's a mention of water weight there, and these fighters are drained. I mean, they're fighting to make weight, and water weight really wouldn't be a big factor here. But in Jay's defense, you mentioned Tyson. Clarissa Shields would whoop Mike Tyson, so watch it.
oh God. Hold on now.
Don't
Hold
start
on.
her
Hold
again.
on.
Oh,
Hold
Lord.
on. Time out. We need to take a timeout on that because Clarissa Shields is advocating a fight right now with Keith Thurman. And I think that
No,
absolutely should not happen.
never.
I
Yeah,
think
should
she's
not.
losing her mind when she talks like that. I just want to put a little bit more context on the article and what Serrano was saying in terms of why she relinquished the belt and what happened there. So basically what happened was in the fight where she beat Danila Ramos by unanimous decision, the fight went 12 3-minute rounds. So it went 12 rounds for 3 minutes. While all of the other governing bodies recognized the bout as a title defense, the WBC did not. And they refused to allow to sanction any bouts under that set of rules. So what Serrano's response was is that, hey, I'm the only boxer, male or female, from Puerto Rico to become an undisputed champion. I'm the only female boxer to have won titles in 7 divisions. I'm the first female boxer, along with Katie Taylor, to headline Madison Square Garden. So all I'm asking for, and she also said I'm the first undisputed female champion to fight 12 rounds at 3 minutes. So all she's asking for is recognition and the opportunity to do that, and the WBC, for whatever reason, is not allowing it.
Eric says, I don't think any other boxer can handle going 3-minute rounds with Amanda. I mean, I agree, but that's not Amanda's fault.
I mean,
Other
but
people need to step
didn't her
up.
last opponent last the whole 12 rounds?
They did.
Danielle did. Danielle went to 12 rounds with Serrano.
But
she
Yeah.
didn't get
Nobody
knocked
was
out.
hurt. By the way, the example is that nobody got hurt in that fight.
Eric is making it
I mean,
sound like she
that's
has
that.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lucas.
I was just going to say that she has an advantage off of it becoming 3-minute rounds, 12 rounds. But go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, sometimes at a higher level of boxing, just like the offense start being superb, so is the defense. So if you notice at the high skill levels, yeah, some of them get hurt, some of them get knocked out, but at the same time, sometimes we have boxing matches where it's just pure cleaning boxing, and not many people get hurt. They just here and there, getting some shots, countering, and I feel like maybe that was the case in there, you know. But at the same time, it's I don't know. It came like it looks like it came. I came at the right time because we were talking about this earlier in the chat, and you already know I had a few things to say. Um, I can resume. I can go over. So I commend Amanda for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like is like I said, it's like a gamble because out of all the belts, probably the WBC is the one that brings them more money, and to be able to be comfortable away to be like, you know what, I'm not here doing this for the money. That really shows that she's not really here for the money. You know what I'm saying? Even though she did crack the 1 million mark, and she has put women's boxing in the map. I feel like maybe a little in a different way than Clarissa, and not taking away nothing from the champ. Just saying, different flavors. People bring a different type of air to the sport, and at the same time, being able to do this from her position, being the fact that she's undisputed, broke all these records, have made history with the whole 12 rounds, 3 minutes, um, is a solid stand for women. Um, as far as like maybe it's easier to do this after she got with Jake Paul because he also I'm not taking away the credit from him too. He kind of held the break into this 7-figure purses and all this stuff. But it's a slippery slope. I feel like excuse my language, fuck the WBC with all their triple critical stuff. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's scientifically if you want to go, because that's pretty much what a lot of doctors say and a lot of sanctioning bodies. The woman's anatomy is not meant for fighting. The bone density, their the way their bodies are built. So maybe that's also the case that they probably wouldn't be able to withstand as much damage as a man can, because it's generically, scientifically, if you want to go on that route, that it's not the same. But at the same time, I can see how they want to stick to that, use that argument to stick to let's keep it more safe, the 2 minutes, the 10 rounds and down, blah blah blah. I just feel like it's a very stand up from Amanda to do this. It's also, like I told you guys earlier in the chat, it's a little like a win and lose game, because when you're demanding stuff and you're want to come in with a movement, basically you have to have some type of leverage, and she does have the leverage as far as like the belt and this accomplishment that she has.
The notoriety, yeah.
Right. As far as that, yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that she's doing it, because she's definitely bringing that into women's boxing, even us. But at the same time, it's a business and money talk.
Well, I mean, not only that, but I mean, we can't even say that 3-minute rounds is safer, right? Just like James is saying, I mean, if it's 2 minutes, it's going to bring that much more heat to that round, right? Imagine if we dropped it to 1 minute. I think it becomes more dangerous, not less. It becomes more. If you have 3 minutes, you can kind of pick your shots, work the round a little bit slower, and even it out. Just like James said earlier, with 2 minutes, you're going to be pouring it on that much quicker. You're going to get what you get. I mean, it's different. It's going to become different. Also, like Sakura said, with the styles, right? So it just depends on that clash. You might not want that clash to last 3 minutes, and maybe it won't. But that's what we need to get to. We need to get to that point that they're ready for that. They're ready for those 3 minutes, or they're not. And if you're not, hey, it's going to be an exciting end to a woman's fight to grow the sport bigger. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've created a culture now where, I mean, the women were getting paid so much less than men, and they still are. That, and Amanda has broken those barriers because of actually most valuable promotions and Jake Paul's influence. But most women are not getting that. But she's in a position where it doesn't matter if she drops that WBC belt or not. She's still getting paid way more than the average, female that's, trying to work their way up in the sport. Although when Clarissa first jumped on the scene, and now with these mega fights that Katie Taylor and Serrano have had collectively, the entire industry for women boxing has seen an increase in pay. Not by a lot, but we're talking like $100 more, or $200 more, or $1,000 more, depending on what range which division they're fighting at. But she's in a position where that WBC belt is not going to dropping it doesn't mean the same thing as when a male counterpart drops it, like as far as the pay is concerned.
Right. And that's why my final take on it is I respect everybody's opinion on it, including the WBCs. They have the right to their own opinion. I just am giving Amanda Serrano credit for challenging that, and just for all of the accolades that she has a right to do that and it not affect her pay or her reputation. It probably makes it go up. So that's why I'm just saying I think everybody's opinion here. There's no right or wrong answer to this. I think everybody's opinion, they have a right to it, and so does the WBC.
I mean, for sure.
In closing out, if we're moving on, I'd just like to say I see a level playing field here between two fighters. If they make weight, if they make weight, it's
That's all that matters. Yeah.
So
I
maybe
agree.
some are a little bit more talented than others, but
should be ready for that 3 minutes.
That's just the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice, and I think people really do need to understand that we are talking about boxing culture. She is trying to affect change. So that's different than her just saying, oh, I don't want this WBC belt and I'm dropping. It is a actual stand that she's taking, almost like a protest. You know what I'm saying? Like, people need to understand that there's a social, it's not just about the actual physicality in the ring and that she can do it, but she's trying to affect change for the entire female boxing industry. I mean, that's like, wow, that's mind blowing. Like she deserves all the credit for what she's trying to do.
Yes, definitely props to her for sticking her neck out. She doesn't have to. So it's good that somebody's setting a good standard.
I know Mauricio Sullivan's watching. I know you're watching, Mauricio.
I'm sure he is, but for different reasons.
Are you listening?
Probably with a lawyer to use against me later. But we're going to talk about that at a different time. Let's rate Ryan Garcia's performance against Oscar Duarte. I'm not going to lie, guys. Right before the fight started, I placed a bet, and it was a bet against Ryan Garcia.
You did?
I did. I actually said that he was going to get dropped twice. I think it was like 33-1 odds. I still felt strongly that he might have had that fight not been catered so much to his side. Let's talk a little bit about it, guys. Rob, your face. I got to come to you off top. Why are you so disappointed in Ryan Garcia?
I'm disappointed in you, sir. I'm disappointed in you.
And me, okay. Why?
All right, y'all. So I hope our listeners out here support me on this. I hope y'all definitely chime in. I need y'all support right now. Stop, please stop diminishing Ryan Garcia for that loss to Tank Davis. I told everybody he was going to be fine. I told you he'd be back. He'd win the fight. He did that. Not only did he do it, he knocked the guy out in the eighth round. Give him his damn credit.
Wait. You think this is a positive then? So what is your ranking for Ryan Garcia? You consider this a win? I mean, if anything, for me, I would say it's a big step backwards. What are you talking about?
He knocked him out.
He knocked him out. He got a lucky punch in, and he was able to finish the job.
Now it's a lucky punch.
But
the man knocked him out.
Listen. He fought with his back turned to him 90% of that fight. Okay.
He was illegally. Lucas.
He was also illegally doing this the entire time. You can't leave your hands.
We know some fighters that have done that. I've seen some fighters that have done that and not even be warned.
He still have to be reminded by Derek James for pulling his chin out up in the air. Okay. Listen, I think Bernard was on to something. I think he needs out. He needs out of the fight game.
Oh, God.
He's looking out for him. But I honestly, I'm not backing Ryan on this one. Why else would they tell him to get out, right? If you're a bad promoter, you hang him out to dry. I've seen this time and time again. We've said it on the show. He has some blatant issues. I'm not talking, something that's complicated. He's missing the basics. Okay.
Well, the great thing about that is Lucas, that you don't determine his career in boxing. That's the
I
best
mean,
part
apparently
about
he's lucky that a lot of people don't determine his career, but he's
What is
doing
going on?
and neither does damn Oscar de la Hoya or Bernard Hopkins, the golden chumps over there, running a scam now and a mockery to this sport.
Look, honestly,
Okay.
he should not. He's talking about possibly fighting
Did
Isak
Tank-
Cruz.
did
He needs
Tank-
to stay
did Tank fight-
far away from anybody else. They are
Did
going
Tank-
to massacre this boy. Okay, that's why he needs out. He needs to go do something while he still has his looks about him, right? And why he still has the brain cells and the CTE, because he is going to be a victim in this ring. Okay.
Did Tank fight again yet after the fight? After he fought Ryan? No. He didn't step in the ring after he fought Ryan. And he had a much easier time that night than Ryan did.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, when you make more money,
no,
you have
he
to fight
absolutely
less.
has to.
He
He absolutely has to. That's why the sport is dying right now, because these stars don't want to fight.
Nah, you're crazy.
Ali and them guys fought 2, 3, sometimes even 4 times a year. I'm tired of hearing about these stars not having to fight. Give Ryan credit. He stepped out there, he came back, and he won by knockout.
Right, but Robert, ain't Tank your man's in them? What I mean, you're not happy with him not fighting soon?
No, I wanted to see him fight again.
That is not defense.
I mean, I honestly, I'm with Lucas on the fact that, you know, he needs to work on a few things, and you throw him in there with the wrong opponent, he might get hurt. You know, it might take a hit on his career. You gotta be careful with him. But as far as like opposition right now, you know, matching him, sparring, coaching, training. But at the same time, I see some qualities, and you know, Lucas, I will say the same sometimes about like the basics and these mistakes. But sometimes just certain guys just that's their style, you know, having those mistakes along with their attributes of speed, skills, awkwardness. That's their style, you know what I mean? I'll give you an example that comes in my head right now. Look at Navarrete. Navarrete does the opposite of what boxing is. That's like whatever you're not supposed to do in boxing, that's what he does. And he's a champion, and he uses his disadvantage, and you know, it works for him. So I feel like I the whole chin up in the air, that's a big mistake. The whole pulling back, you know, dropping your hands, all of that stuff is gonna get Ryan maybe in some trouble when he start losing his step a bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe his speed's not the same. But as for now, as fast as he is, he might still get away with it. You know, as far as the opposition has been, also he might still get away with it. And who knows? Maybe his gift is that, you know, of him having those mistakes and still be able to, you know, come out with the win or find a way to win. Because I mean, we have guys that have kind of that style, you know, like I told you, Navarrete does that. Even this guy that just fought Navarrete as well, Conceição, he has a few mistakes, but you know, they it's a style that they eventually they make it work for them. And you know, it might not be eye pleasing, it might be everything against the book, but it works for them. And if it works for them and they can use it to their advantage, I mean, you know, that's what boxing is. You know, just you train everything and you make whatever works for you work in there. So as far as that, you know, I can see that. I also feel like the opponent was kind of tailor-made for him.
Thank you.
He was supposed to look good, which he did, you know, by stopping the opponent. He was not supposed to go the distance per se. Even though Duarte is also like a hard hitter, and you know, Ryan was kind of at times training with him, you know, they put in the work. I don't think there was nothing impressive for you to be like, oh my God, I want to see this guy again. Like, oh, this guy is the best. Kind of like when you see performances from other guys, you know. But I also commend him for trying to stay busy because, yeah, you can hit like a certain amount of money. You can, you know, get the belt, which is the biggest accomplishment. You can, you know, break these records and all that stuff. But I said it once, say it again. Inactivity is a fighter's worst enemy. and sometimes that plays a role in their career where they lose momentum, or they gotta always come in and shake us some rust instead of being sharp, instead of being on point at all time, because you're busy, you're constantly fighting.
Yeah.
I think like the kid has definitely uh some type of popular leverage where he can bring in the whole YouTubers, the whole social media, Instagram influencers, all the stuff. He has the speed, he has a flashy looking style, and he's probably gonna make that work for him. I also like the fact that he stood up to his promoters and pretty much called them out right there and there for the bullshit, because they be on some bullshit as well, just like pretty much a lot of promoters. So I don't know. I'm learning to give Brian the benefit of the doubt.
I hear what you're saying, and the relations to like Navarrete, and everybody has holes to fill, right? But do you see Navarrete turning his back completely to his opponent? Do you see that really with any top name? That's not something that we see on a regular basis. This is amateur type shit. This is not run of the mill defense. Okay, they were excusing that with a shoulder roll. That's not a shoulder roll. He was turning his back to his opponent. He was running. They could have disqualified Ryan Garcia on Saturday night. Okay, this is not just some little thing. Okay, this is something that no one else is doing. Go ahead,
James. What were you thinking on this? Because I got a few points, but I want to hear what James' take is on this.
Okay, so thank you. The first thing I want to say is something that you mentioned, Javi. Javi's gone.
No. I'm here. I'm listening.
There he is. Okay, so you said that opponent, I think your words were tailor-made. Yeah, I was saying he's handpicked, and in the end, Oscar Duarte is a good kid and a good fighter and hard worker, and he's an educated kid, but he's just not that good. And I'll give you an example here. This is kind of different, but when I saw Tank and Ryan Garcia coming together for a fight, I said this is a train wreck, because one is a championship level fighter. Tank Davis is an absolute consummate pro. Talented as can be. Ryan Garcia will be there someday, but not there yet. Not there yet. Good kid, but just not there. Not at the same skill level as Tank. Why he wanted that fight? Well, for the notoriety is what I can imagine. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Now, when you look at Oscar Duarte, just not there. I think an entire level below Ryan, just like Ryan was a level below Tank. So he did good against a very, very, very green, very mediocre fighter, and had a lot of trouble. So when you put Ryan up against the top of that heap in that division, he leaves a lot to desire there. I mean, in style, in technique, in those habits that he needs to clean up, like turning his head and turning around and dropping his head and hitting low. And there's a lot of things that Ryan needs to correct, and they should have been corrected by now.
I mean, that's a lot, though. That's a mouthpiece right there. So are you not kind of agreeing with Bernard and saying maybe you should get the hell up out of here? Maybe you should do something else. Maybe boxing ain't for you.
No, I think that what Hopkins said is more attendant to their feud, their little battle.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
exactly.
Really,
I feel like
Bernard Hopkins would never really say that to anybody. I think Bernard Hopkins is a lot further along and more experienced, and would say, stay in the game, and one, stay in your lane, because that's the way he speaks. But two is, you're learning and just stick with it and you're going to be okay, is because he's more encouraging than that. As far as I know from talking to Hopkins, he's very positive. He's a very positive thinker. So there it is. Ryan Garcia's got a lot to learn. In this specific case, he had a fighter that is just not at his level, and he had some struggles there, turning his back and turning around and trying to do the shoulder roll and the whole thing. God knows where that came from, and hopefully he'll clean that up quick, because he can get pounded on when he turns his head like that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at, is that I believe a lot of that shoulder roll and that back facing, it was still like he was protecting that rib, that side of the body that Tank had, done damage to, that ended his fight with him in April. And it also was an area in which we're told, allegedly, he had already suffered some type of injury to that side of the body. So I'm not sure if that is completely healed or if it healed and he re-injured it in his, camp leading up to this. Because, Derek James and them, they're known to like really go at it in their sparring regiments and stuff. Like, they believe in actively fighting, not as aggressive as you would against your opponent, but definitely, honing in on your skills. So that was one thing. Like I'm pretty sure something's still going on with that side of his body. I mean, that was quite evident in the way that he continued to protect it throughout the fight. And I think that also was a reason why you don't fight someone so far ahead, over you as far as experience, because now that shit is living in Ryan Garcia's mind rent free. So Tank's injury to that thing it's got him overprotecting. It could be he's overprotecting that side of his body now. But the shoulder roll thing, that didn't work for me. Oscar Duarte, I did like him as far as his aggression and the fact that he didn't go in there to just necessarily roll over for Ryan. He was trying to give him different looks and doing the things that he knew how to do. He didn't let his Ryan's status deter him from trying to win. I give Ryan credit because Ryan is facing a situation where, for some reason, he did not get after starting amateurs as a kid all the way up to now. Somebody had some gaps there as far as what they were teaching him, that he doesn't have those fundamentals that we know, with the defense and, with the foot movement, that jab situation that Lucas was talking about, kind of meandering and staying out there as a range finder. It's certain things that I feel like a lot of trainers in the past have probably not done him any favors by skipping those steps because he had so much power in his left. So those are some things. Now, that whole promoter situation with the business aspect, I think he got too caught up in what they said and not enough focus on his actual fight. And Oscar and B-Hop know they would, when they were fighters, they would not want their promoters making that much noise and saying that many things leading into a big fight. I thought that was so unprofessional. However, like you said, emotions run high, and people do things that are out of their character when their emotions are running high. But Oscar and B-Hop probably they owe him an apology for doing that right before his fight. Like that is not a great mental place to be when you don't feel like you had a support of your team with you. But Ryan, he is still learning on the job, as we say. That doesn't mean that he should just quit the sport altogether. I mean, I just feel like he's still not getting, or he's still not listening to what the professionals in his corner are telling him. I mean, because I know that Derek James was telling him one thing, and he went out there and he did something entirely different. Like, he was not necessarily listening to the advice of his corner, which means that is this a pattern? I mean, because he has to start listening to someone if he really respects their skill and their understanding of boxing. So there was a couple of points, but needless to say, the thing that I was most disappointed in was that 143 catch weight. I felt like if you're going to get back in the game and you're going to do what you're supposed to be doing, and you want to be a lightweight, quit fucking toying with the weight. Make the 140 if that's where you want to be. If you don't want to be there, you need to go to the 147. Stop with this catch weight BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not helping you long term to get to the goal that you want to get to. So I don't think that they should placate and make things 143 pounds when you're saying you're a lightweight, contender. You shouldn't be doing that, especially if you're saying you're hopping back on the horse and you're trying to get back into the game flow after a big loss. But he's a champion in my mind for being able to take a big loss like that and still come back and get in that ring.
Yeah. I mean, he was actually starting to get walked down by Duarte. The sudden change of now I got to chase him literally around the ring. Then he caught him while he was, mid chase. That's what happened. So, I mean, at some point he did start to listen. I think that change helped him. So, Derek James may have even bailed him out of that fight because without that, Duarte may have walked Garcia down and even stopped him later on. It appeared.
The jab. Yeah, the jab was key.
Go back and check that, and you can hear people booing simply because Ryan Garcia was not engaging, rather around the ring the way he was. Yeah, it's not a very fan-friendly kind of thing to see someone, say he's going to do this and that and blah, 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 and then, ends up, on his bicycle moving around the ring that way. Just doesn't make any sense. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I've never known of a promoter, and I need to go back and honestly verify this, but it sounded like one of the promoters said, "I will F you up." So I gotta go back. I gotta go back and check that. But in the end, Oscar Duarte, man, he's like a C level here, and then, maybe we can say that Ryan Garcia is more like a B level fighter, and then Tank and the other cats in the bunch, they're like Shakur and Haney and so forth. They're A level fighters. There's different levels here, and Ryan Garcia is coming along, but at the same time, he's got a long way to go. Dipping your head the way he was, and I just saw a lot of fundamental things that he needs to correct. I think at this point he should not be showing those flaws. They should have been corrected. They should have been cleaned up. I mean, he's trained with Canelo at Reynoso's gym, and he's trained with Goosen, and he's trained now with Derek James, right?
And he has an amateur background. That's
See, guys, and this is why I'm saying it. I don't know why Bernard or anybody else, but the reason I'm saying it is because what do you want him to do? Just fight C-level guys his whole career? Because if he's had these guys, these trainers behind him to try to help him get to there, and he ain't getting there, what else do you do? That's why I'm saying, James, maybe he should consider hanging it up. Because if you're not making a real effort, if you're not looking to fight other guys your caliber or better, and I think we all agree Duarte was not, and Duarte was still in there with him. If you have anybody better, they're walking out of that.
Well, the other thing is that he took a $30 million nugget from his last fight. So it's like there's motivation to do a lot of other things. And I can see him doing it. I mean, he can be in acting and singing and whatever he wants to do, or videos and live his life, and he's happy. He's got it made. Here's another thing I want to say about Ryan. I think he's a good kid, but he's got something that follows him everywhere he goes, and it's drama.
Little black cloud.
That's what we like.
Very unprofessional.
That's what we like in the sport. He's a kid. Okay? He's a kid. Let him go about. Lucas says, what is he going to fight? C-level fighters till he needs to mature. So yes, maybe he does need to take lesser opponents from here on out until he matures more. But
he's calling out Raul Romero.
There is a major maturity issue.
Well, he's calling out.
And that's why he has the issues with Golden Boy, because they say he don't listen. He has the issues with trainers because they say he don't listen. And when he does listen, he does great things. Let the kid mature then, but he's not done.
Well, I agree with you on a couple of those points, Rob. Can't believe I'm saying that. But you really have to just look at his career and the things that he's accomplished, even as what we're saying is like a B-level fighter. He's maximizing his purse. And what I really like about Ryan is he really does believe in himself. Like, that is the key to success with people that may not be as talented as others is that you really still just believe in yourself. He took that Tank fight because he thought he could actually win that fight. I had wholeheartedly, because he could have made money with any other fighter if he wanted to, but he really thought that he could use his power in his left and give Tank a different look than what other boxers he had faced had done. That takes a certain level of security in yourself to be able to just have, confidence that you can do something like that when you don't necessarily have or haven't shown that level of talent. But I feel like that fight with Tank is a great thing that happened to him because it has made him look at fights different and try to change things. Like he could have stayed in LA and still been training and being a superstar, but he did choose to go out to Texas and where there's a different lifestyle and not just boxing lifestyle, but it's a different lifestyle out there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these are things that he chose to do because he believes and wants to invest in his boxing career. Nobody should be telling him to quit when you have that much level of commitment in you. When you could easily just walk away with 30 mil, like, what's to stop you if you were that type of person? You wouldn't keep pursuing it.
I mean, there's a fine line between confidence and delusions of grandeur, though.
We're beating this though, Lucas. My honest opinion, I think he should take a fight against this next topic, one of these two next topics that we have going on. This fight coming up this weekend, I think he's geared more towards stylistically fighting one of these two guys.
I think we just said the exact opposite, right? I mean, everybody kind of said the exact opposite, Rob. So I'm kind of confused where you're coming from.
I mean, but
I'm trying to go to the next topic.
Right. I understand that.
If that's just your breeze over, then
transition.
Okay.
That's his transition to the next topic.
As long as you didn't
Rolling
mean
Romero,
that.
I'm just going to say Rolling Romero is a great name for Ryan to call out because he's also someone that we know we wouldn't classify as an A-level fighter. We wouldn't classify Rolling, but he is somebody with a name, and they will make it a huge fight because of all the BS and the ish talking they're gonna do, and so it makes for great entertainment for the sport. So I don't see anything wrong with him calling out a Rolly Romero. Right. As Ryan pointed out, he got basically slapped over the head by an old man, as he said. No shade to him.
You're right, but you don't call out Teofimo, and that was one of the things he did most recently. I'm talking about Garcia. And so the one thing I wanted to say, Rob, is that, in boxing, you don't have that luxury of, picking and choosing at that level and staying at that level. If you're going to pick and choose, that's because your trajectory is a little bit different. And in boxing, it's fast and furious. I mean, you're ascending to the top real quickly. Mm-hmm. And basically what Ryan Garcia would do is just fight. He would fight Jorge Linares for the rest of his life. Yeah. You can't. Boxing doesn't work that way. It's like this. I mean, you're going straight to the top, one after the other and after the other. Then you get your final nugget, and you're gone.
I'm gonna say it one more time, and then we're just gonna move on to Prograis-Haney. But honestly, Ryan Garcia, to me, is Victor Ortiz with speed. That's the way I see it.
Victor didn't have a bad career. Now let's move on.
Not bad, but he also was missing some big holes.
You got that one right.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, he still was what we consider successful in his boxing career without necessarily being the most amazing, skillful boxer.
Lamont's got it. I mean, AV, that's a name, and that's not a huge risk. Ryan Garcia.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Good fight, a real good fight.
I definitely agree with that. I agree with Rolly Romero. I agree with that.
How about Zepeda? Jose Chon Zepeda, who lost to Prograis recently.
Yeah, I think that as well.
Coming back to fight Ryan Garcia at 140. Ryan Garcia is going to hit 140 at some point. If he's fighting catch weights now.
147. Yeah,
No,
definitely.
140. 140.
I mean, I like what Lamont is suggesting. I like what he said himself with Rowley. To wasn't really a viable choice because the money's not there for that matchup. And also, like I said, you can have a successful career in boxing without being like the most elite boxer. It's been proven over and over again.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of want to see the problem come back as well.
It's been a while. I
kind of
mean,
miss.
I think
I kind of miss the problem.
he was former pound for pound. I mean, you gotta give it to him.
Kind of like pimples.
All right, let's talk Prograis-Haney, everybody.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready for this matchup. I'm ready for this fight. It's going to be in San Francisco. It's a situation where both you got skill versus skill and power, but it's a question mark on Haney as to if he's going to have enough power to compete at 140, based on what we saw as far as power with him at 140. At 135. So it's like that question mark there. Like if he can compete and if he can take the punishment of a real like solid 140 pounder, then that's a great division for him. But if he's rocked or there's signs that he can't really take that punishment or that weight difference, he's going to be in some trouble because we're just talking about how it's so hard for him to make 135. So and now he started relinquishing belts like he really can't make that 135. But then if he doesn't have a great showing at 140, where the hell does he go? You're going to keep moving up to 147, but you still don't have power to make people respect you. Well, you got to have something.
But I mean, I think his days at 135 are long gone, and 140 is the only natural way to go. And I think it's a good move for him because he could display a lot of power at 140. I can't wait to see him at 147. I know he's going to be there someday soon. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great matchup. I think it's a 50-50. I can't wait to see this fight. I think this could be one of the fights of the year. Funny that I was thinking earlier before the show, that's what we thought of when we heard that Spence Jr. was fighting Crawford, and that turned out to be a whooping. And I hope this doesn't go that way. I'm happy to see that.
It wasn't as competitive for sure.
I mean, he's dropping belts and he's moving up, and it's a good move for him. And it's going to be a really, really great fight.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like it on paper. Rob, do you see Haney's move up going to be successful?
So here's the thing that I feel in terms of this bout. In my opinion, we know the sky's the limit for Devin Haney because he's been up there now and fought the best. He's been up there and fought an undisputed champ twice. He's been up there. He's been up there at this level and not been knocked yet. Despite what people think about what happened against Lomachenko, he was declared the winner. He was in that fight at the end of it. And that one was a chess match, 50-50 type fight. Whereas Prograis, when he did really step up in competition with Josh Taylor, he failed. And other than that, the competition hasn't reached that level yet. So I don't really know what Prograis has for Devin Haney. I know that Haney is going to try to make it a chess match, whereas Prograis would be more to his advantage to try to get in there and use his power and knock Devin Haney off a bit. I think that Devin Haney, which he's shown in the past, when he is pressured a lot, when he is getting hit with a lot of power punches, he steps up his level another notch. And again, we've seen Haney, how far Haney can step up to. He's world record beaters. As far as Prograis, we don't know. So I feel like, and you already know, the weight doesn't matter. Haney even said himself, though, that he's too big for 135. He'll never be back there. He's already up to 140. And then even above, like James said, he's looking at, a few fights only at 140 before he moves up to 147. He knows where he's at in terms of that. I don't see the weight being an issue at all. The issue in this fight is talent. We know Devin Haney is a hell of a talent. We really don't know where Prograis is as far as that yet. He hasn't caught his ceiling, and when he has been at this level, he hasn't succeeded.
Sakura touched on it for me. I think Haney, as far as his boxing IQ, I think he's got this already in the bag. The only problem now is he able to take that harder punch from moving up? And is he able to transcend into the power? I don't know how well Haney's power is going to go up, but people really don't seem too much by Haney. I think he's got respectable power, but nothing really to stop you from coming in, right? And going up to 140, I think Prograis is going to have that much easier chance walking through it. So that's really the only. You say weight doesn't matter. I'm saying weight's the only thing that matters at all in this fight.
Not at all. Anyways, listen. Haney had the issue with Lomachenko because Lomachenko, talent-wise and boxing IQ-wise, ring generalship, all the other tangibles that you have in the sport, Lomachenko was his equal.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, you just went against the Matrix. I think this Prograis fight will seem easier in comparison
to Lomachenko fight.
Yeah, so I think Haney's gonna be able to get Prograis.
Right.
For the most part, be able to do what he wants in that ring.
Right.
Prograis going to be trying to get inside the entire time, and Haney's going to control the distance.
I wholeheartedly agree. But in order for this to be a great fight, like James is expecting, you want to see Haney be able to land some of those shots. And you want to, Prograis, you want to see Prograis be able to land some of those shots. And you definitely want to see Haney take it and step up the level. That's what I want to see in this fight. I want to see Prograis execute his game plan and be able to get in there and tag him a little, and Haney to just take it and step it up a notch.
Yeah, I don't know.
I personally, I'm going with Prograis on this one.
Really?
The reason I am because
Shakura's a Prograis fan.
I am, but not for the reasons that everybody thinks. It's not about the power for me, but it's about it's just about like your inner ability to be like aggressive and want to win, and the fact that he has been on a bigger stage and had competition like Josh Taylor. But we also have to remember that Josh Taylor fight was extremely close. I mean, Josh Taylor looked at way worse for wear than Regis did in that fight at the end. And not only that, you also have to take into account that was years ago. You know what I'm saying? We're in 2023. Well, at the end of 2023, there's a lot of learning and experience and growth. And it's all for him, bid at 140 pounds. He is the established person in that division. Haney will come in and it'll be brand new, feeling the power, feeling the different levels of intensity when somebody's right up on you. But I do feel like the first half of the fight is going to be a little bit boring because if I'm Haney's team, I'm telling him to just stay away from Haney. I mean, I'm staying away from Prograis for the first half of the fight. Like just jab and stick and move because, you want to try to wear some of that power down that he could possibly get hit with. I still have questions about Haney's chin, but I do love Haney's skill level. But I think the thing is, a lot of people discredit Prograis' skill, when it's some there for sure. And well, when I go back and look at the records, I know that Lomachenko, Haney had a hard time with Lomachenko because of the skill level, like Rob was saying. But it's also a situation where he had some fights where he didn't look great. It's not just one fight that Haney didn't look that he looked a little lackluster in. Not getting rid of Gamboa. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some things there that have me questioning whether he got that type of heart to deal with a dog. He is finna get in there with a real dog in Prograis. I'm going with that dog. I could be wrong, but I'm going with him because I feel like that does make a difference when some of these championship level fights.
So, a few things just to unpack in my head that you said.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad am able to stretch that mind a little bit.
Um, for one, I do think that Haney did have, especially earlier on in his career, he did have some lackluster performances. I think that has something to do with motivation in the fight, where he had a lot less talent and he was just really fighting up to the level of his opponent. I think if he does have somebody in there, like you say, Prograis is a dog. If he has a dog in that fight, he steps up his level, and his level is much more higher than a Prograis. That's my take on that. The second thing is that I believe that Prograis also had some lackluster performances in some of his fights. So I challenge, and I hope that he does prove me wrong in this fight, but I challenge the fact that he is indeed a dog out there. I
His
hope that
last fight he looked terrible.
I
Yeah,
hope that
Zarrillo
I hope
was
I shouldn't say terrible, but
not
I
great.
hope that he brings that and shows us that he is that dog and does challenge Haney to have to bring out that extra level in
He
this
has
fight.
to. I mean, pretty much he has to. What else path does he have? And he's the actual champion in this fight. That's another thing that gets me. He's the WBC champion. That he won that with the fight that James was speaking on earlier. Um, oh, now I forgot his name. Jose
the Peta
Zapata.
The
Yeah,
Payton. Mhm.
one
yeah, and that showed that there was levels to Prograis too. The way that he like dominated him the entire time. Now he did have a bad showing after that in New Orleans, which was a home fight, and that was a. I'm not trying to diminish the boxer. What was his name? Zillow or
Zarilla.
Zarilla.
Really.
Yes, he was also a very awkward boxer that he was fighting. So I mean, those things do come into play when you don't look as good. But to me, that is the person that had to do it the hard way, that had to, fight on local level cards for a long time before he was able to garner anything, special in signings. So that is the fighter that has more on the line to me than a Haney that's going to continue to be able to get larger fights as an A-side fighter, and probably at 147. So his career is not over. That's why I feel like the pressure is more on Prograis to make something happen in this fight.
Yeah,
And then,
and it definitely is on him, and I don't know if he can do it any better than what Lomachenko did. He
But
might do it
see,
with a little bit more
Lomachenko
power.
doesn't have power though. That's
Yeah,
the thing, is like the difference in that fight. If Lomachenko had stronger power, there's no doubt in my mind that Haney would have got TKO'd or stopped in that fight. The way they were exchanging,
yeah.
and Haney was not able to totally figure out Lomachenko in that fight. That's very clear to me.
Oh
So
no,
I
yeah.
mean, if you add power onto the equation, which is what you get at 140, now we're getting into something that could be a special fight, or it could be seriously boring, like the Cambosis fight, because he stays on, using his beautiful jab and moving around the ring.
he
So I mean,
knows how
that's
to
the thing,
he knows how to
Yeah,
tie well.
right? He can
So
do that.
Shakura, my question to you is, and maybe to Lucas, but I think he answered me. But my question to you is, does weight matter in this fight?
Of course, it matters. It matters in every fight.
Does good because when
I don't
Haney
really
whoops his
understand it.
ass, I'm gonna come back here next week and tell you I told you it doesn't
But I
matter.
don't understand what you mean when you say weight in this fight. They both are fighting at 140, so they both
That
have to
yeah.
make 140 pounds.
And
What
they're
Yeah,
both
are
and
you
but
talking
that's
about?
in
Like if he balloons
every
up?
fight.
I mean, are you saying if he balloons up after the weigh-in? I
That's
mean,
in every fight. I'm talking about in previous episodes when the fighter is moved up, you guys always question the move up. And the question always is, oh, will he be able to hang with them at this higher weight?
No.
You alluded to it in this one, him being the heavier fighter, him
that
being
is
the champion at
no,
140.
that's not what I was saying. It like he doesn't have the experience of feeling and being in the ring, experiencing 140 pound dirt. I'm not saying that he's gonna have issues with 140 pounds that he makes it. Like that's I'm not
So then
understanding.
let me repeat my question then. Does the weight matter in this fight?
what do you
It depends. It depends what you mean. Again, it's very
Haney is
circumstantial.
moving
Yeah,
up.
it's
All
No,
right,
subjective.
I'm
so
just
so let's
know?
saying.
say
Haney
this.
is moving up in weight to 140.
Right.
Prograis is already a champion at 140. Are you telling me that
I
weight
think that
matters
is
in
an
this fight?
I'm
advantage.
telling you, weight could matter. Yes.
I think that is an advantage for program. I do.
I agree.
So
Because
you're saying yes. That's
All three
it's
to
a
one.
yes or
Yes, 3 to 1. Yes.
so you both are saying yes.
No,
Good.
all three of
Because
us.
when Haney
James
whoops
said
his
it too.
ass, next week, I'm coming back here and telling you weight doesn't
And
matter.
don't get missing
That
if he
does
don't whip
not
his
make
ass. That's all I'm
that
saying to
he
you.
can't win.
Is don't be missing.
But
Yeah,
if
that
Haney
doesn't mean
wins,
he
it's not
can't
so
win.
much
Those
the
aren't
weight.
one and the
It's
same.
not so much the weight. You got to give Haney his due, and that's he's a talented fighter. It's not so much the weight. They're both coming in at 140.
James,
Program,
that's my
program
argument there.
heavier.
So you're saying that the talent matters, not the weight.
I think it all matters.
Okay.
It all
He's
Rob,
matters.
saying
Rob,
Everybody,
Rob.
overall,
If
everybody's
you're
trying to be.
telling me on fight night that Prograis Haney remains the same and Prograis balloons to 160 or above, you're
Come
telling me that weight isn't going to matter in that fight. That's what you're saying to me.
Telling you that this is not the weight
No, no,
doesn't
no.
matter.
Okay. Don't political answer me. So you're saying no. You're saying it still won't matter. He balloons 20 pounds heavier. It doesn't matter.
First, that's probably not going to happen. If it does, we won't know because they don't weigh each other.
What you're not
themselves
understanding
in.
is this happens in boxing a lot, and that's what we were really getting to the heart of last week. That's where this is coming
right.
from. I know, but this
Yes.
happens. That's why these dudes shrink themselves like beef jerky, right? So that they can
It's
balloon
weight
up.
bullying. It's weight bullying. Basically, it's like I can make this weight, but the night of the fight, I'm not going to be anywhere close to that weight division.
Mhm.
Like, so that's what specifically we were talking about when we say weight
So
matters.
this isn't a weight bullying fight. So your answer should have
We
been
don't know
no.
yet.
Weight
No,
doesn't
'cause
matter
we
in
don't.
this fight. Then
No, because we don't
I
know
would
yet.
say
He's
it
gonna
matters
bully.
less than some other fights we've talked about clearly, but it still matters.
I don't know. It depends on
James,
how big he
we
gets.
got
James is confused. I'm sorry, James. This
No,
goes back to
It depends on
no.
a
how.
argument.
It just depends on after the night of the fight.
No.
How much extra is he gonna weigh? Is it gonna make Prograis look like he's not able to accomplish anything because there's too much of a weight difference now? I mean, he can absorb way more punishment if he does decide to go up and be 154 or 160 pounder that night. So, but what you're trying to do is make it seem like no, weight matters when both fighters weigh in at 140 and they both are around the same size the night of the fight. That's not what we were talking about.
There's no rehydration clause here.
That's
Oh.
not what I was saying. No, I'm saying you guys always say when a fighter moves up in weight, that it's a disadvantage and it matters because he's
It's only
normally
I think you're referring to when I said if you jump 2 weight classes. And yes, usually, traditionally, when you jump 2 weight classes, it's a bad idea. Usually that person loses. Mikey Garcia, other examples, Bronner.
Now we putting
Arlo
limits
just
on
did
it.
it.
But
Now we putting
Just
limits
lost.
on it.
no, we're not putting limits. I said that was one of them.
No,
that
I
we were
think it
bringing
is
up.
an advantage if you're fighting somebody that's already been at that weight class a long time. I think it is an advantage for that person. It's less, it's not as much like there's no experience in that weight class. You moved up to it. So you're just now experiencing it for the first time.
Here's what it is, okay? And maybe you just don't see it, Rob, but we were more referring to guys like Canelo that try to drain really bad and then balloon back up. So
or the monster.
You're punching, right, with the 168 power, but you're doing it down at 154.
Right.
That's why they shrink down to it, right? So then they balloon back up, and you don't know once they hit that, well, he can deal at 154, but can he deal at 160? Okay, he can deal at 160. Can he deal at 168? And every person, Rob, including the GOAT to you, Floyd Mayweather, has a limit of how far you can reach. And I believe 154 was his limit. He ain't fighting nobody at 160 because he's not insane. He's a smart man. He ain't fighting nobody any higher than that. 154 was it. So yes, weight fucking matters, Rob. For the last time, weight matters.
Like it's some sort of advantage for Prograis. Maybe it is, but it's not a disadvantage for Haney. It's not exactly a disadvantage. If he makes weight and if he's healthy and if he rehydrates the way he wants to rehydrate, he'll be fine. Then it's all based on skills.
It's great how he said, in this case, Prograis has a weight advantage, but only because he is moving up to 140. That is the only reason. And I agreed with Sakura for that reason, is because he's already been fighting at 140. He knows what it feels like to deal with 140 type power and to be at that weight. This is a new weight for him. That's the only really advantage here. This is not somebody who drains themselves completely crazy in balloons. We don't see that in either one of these guys. So no, it doesn't make a huge impact like other fights have.
We have to wait and see what they like. How much weight is gained the night of the fight?
Yeah,
because if I'm Haney's team, I want him to rehydrate enough that he can take more punishment from a heavier boxer than what he's used to having. Mm-hmm. So that will come into play. I just have to see if he wants to stay light on his feet and be able to move around and be quicker against someone like Prograis, then he needs to stay on the lighter side. So it just depends on what tactics and strategy his boxing team decide to do.
So are we doing predictions for this fight at some point?
I mean, we tried. Sakura has
Prograis. I'm going with the champ.
Not yet. I'm going with Haney. Probably. I'm gonna say unanimous decision.
I'm gonna go with Prograis and a squeaker, maybe a split.
Really? I'm already surprised. I really didn't really think anybody was picking Prograis, let alone two. Rob?
Haney, pure domination. Haney. Not even close. I
hope not, because that's a very bad snoozer if that's what happens.
I kind of agree with Rob, which is worrying me a little bit.
Well, yeah.
See what I mean? Yeah.
He's always wrong.
No, I'll be right sometimes.
All I know is James got great odds. I mean, shoot, he was killing us when we was doing the boxing games.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, him and Bobby, they were getting it. So I'm glad I'm on James' side tonight.
Well, James and Sakura, you might want to put some money on it. Prograis is the underdog. So if you risk 100 right now, you're getting 330 back. So if you really think he can win, you might want to put some money down. Haney, I'm not putting any money on you, buddy. That's not worth the risk.
Oh, well, all I got to say is, let's not forget, I mean, Prograis is the champion. That's why, it floored me when they were promoting this and they got everything geared towards Haney. I'm like, he is actually the champ. I mean, that's kind of like insulting as fuck. If you ask me, that is like a total slap in the face. If you've been at 140 and you're the champion and then they come in and like give Haney like the ace high status when he just got to the weight and hasn't fought at that weight yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Lucas, this
Mhm.
is your favorite DAZN pay-per-view. So I'm gonna need you to post that link on here.
You telling our secrets. Shh.
You keep that on the DL. But no, let's go over. You got some other fights, but we're not doing predictions on these. Of course, we got Rosie Ramiro versus Espinoza. We also have on the undercard of that Xander Zayas. I just hit something, messed myself up. But
yes,
one of
and
my
it's
favorite.
actually in Florida. It's in Pembroke Pines, which is South Florida. So he'll be Xander and Ramirez will be having like, almost like a homecoming fight, per se, because of the Latin power that's down in South Florida. So it's almost like them having a home fight away from home.
that's cool.
Yeah, so that also is an element of that fight. And it's just exciting to see Xander back in action. And Ramirez, if he continues to win, that's leading up to an Inoue fight. So we're hearing, that's the next thing that Inoue will try to vie for is the Ramirez title.
My favorite female fighter, Ebane Bridges, is on this Devin Haney undercard.
Lord. Oh, you went back to the other card. Okay.
Facing a last minute replacement, Shakura. She's facing a last minute replacement in that one.
I mean, Bridges, that's the type of boxer we were talking about where you don't have to have as much, skill as you think to actually be still a very successful boxer.
I'll tell you what, tune in to the weigh-in on that one, fellas.
For sure. I think I'm going to cancel my trip. I'm going to cancel my trip to San Diego.
Yeah, you might go to San Francisco to see Bridges.
There it is, Bridges, and whatever else she's showing.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, got any rapid fire for us?
It is 10:24, sir. We are rapidly out of here.
Rapidly out of here. I like that one.
Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a great show. Don't forget to actually comment some of your predictions as well. We'd love to see who you got for this weekend. Is those odds worth your money? Don't forget to check us out every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we don't pull any punches, and we'll see you again next week.